bread, and because here in Germany, it's since last year, I guess, Brie told me that it's allowed to do this insect flour from insects into the bread.
What?
Yeah.
With insects?
Yeah, you know this these special insects, very easy to produce, and very cheap. It's very cheap, and they don't have to declare it on. They just are allowed to do it in it.
Right.
Yeah, and so I guess nowadays it's not. I guess Baba wouldn't say this
No,
for nowadays. In this case, for Germany
yes.
maybe.
Yeah, yeah. There are
But
insects in my
yeah,
bread.
I'm not sure. Brie just told me, but I didn't read about this, and I haven't heard about this. Yeah,
Right.
but it's interesting, isn't it? How this changes.
It is. I think it's
Mm.
something we need to task Namrata to advise on. She's a nutritionist. So Namrata, later, I know you can't speak, but yes, insects in the flour in Germany to make bread will be a good one to to find out. Because if it's happening there, I'm sure, you know, everywhere else, it's no time at all that that is a possibility as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, and interesting this topic of addiction. And today he brought up this alcohol and cigarettes. Yeah, and the feeling here is that the whole world is addicted in something. Yeah, and these are just examples for what we had this morning with Sister Namrata in the Murli Revision. It's or Prashant said it. No, I guess, or whoever. Someone said, or in morning class, that it's an emptiness inside, just to fill some lack.
Yes.
And
Yes.
how to fill this lack, and how to replacement also is a method, but also to fill this gap or this lack.
Yes, because you know, the externals, as you say, are just examples. We are also addicted to our thoughts, our ways of thinking, our sanskaras, etc. So the addiction runs deep. So, you know, it's a habit which has turned into an addiction, you know, addicted to anger, addicted to anything really. So the external, which is like the cigarettes and the alcohol, it's a symptomatic expression of what's inside. So Baba is filling the inside. So automatically the addictions, you know, slowly, it takes time, slowly, you know, fall
Yeah,
away, being filled
it,
inside.
it's about not curing the symptoms, but cure the causes, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's why Baba always mentioned homeopathic. You know, he says, you know, Gyan is like the homeopathic medicines, because the whole ethos thinking behind homeopathic medication is it goes to the source and it pulls out the illness from its source, versus you know, other medications like, I don't know, painkillers, etc. They just mask the symptoms. They don't cure the root cause. So that's why Baba always mentions this gyan is like that. It's like homeopathic medication. It goes right down deep into the roots, pulls out the illness. And that's why he says you will feel the illness. You know, in homeopathic philosophy, they say the illness will come out even more as you're doing this process. But if you just, you know, silently accept that this is the process, then you will see a cure in the illness. It's patience a lot in homeopathic
Yeah,
medicines if you're using that.
and since we are joining for so many years, ages, how long ever, and still it remains.
Mm. Yes,
I have
because
this
it is
feeling,
a
and sometimes I'm really frustrated about that because it's not. I'm not getting rid of some things.
yes.
Mm.
But I think that the name of the game is to just watch the self, to see the reduction of the illness, but not to expect a complete dissemination of the illness altogether, or the issue, the weakness, etc. Because the weakness is still there. It'll always be there. It's like a stain, and that stain will always be there. But whether that stain, it's like a wound, when it heals, you'll see a little scar, but the wound itself is healed. So this is what Baba is trying to do, heal that wound, but he's not worried about the scar. The scar repeats, right? The scar becomes a wound again when the copper age comes the next time round. So what he's saying is, what you need to watch is whether you are being influenced by your own wound, by your own sanskaras when they come up. And that's being victorious. So the sanskaras will be there, they will pull, they will do what have you, it's all there. But karmatit actually means you're no longer influenced by your own sanskaras. So, which means you no longer use it, which means that wound heals. So it's not an easy process of simply saying there's no longer anger, there's no longer. Baba always says, at the end, all that deep sanskaras you have will definitely come up. And at that time, can you be uninfluenced? And then you have reached your karmatit stage. So each time it comes up, that's why Baba says, be a detached observer of it. Because the moment we get frustrated, or we get guilty, or we get, why is this coming up? We are actually feeding into it. So the wound is actually, we are opening up the wound, and then we are, actually touching the wound when we do that. So Baba says that the cure is to stand back and look at the wound when it comes up, when it erupts. Because that is the practice towards being karmatit. Karmatit, basically, you're being the detached observer. And that was Brahma Baba's practice right at the end. He was a detached observer of his own sanskaras, both the good and the bad, right? So that is the karmatit practice. So this is what Baba is telling us. And that's why, it takes time. For Brahma Baba itself, it took, 33 years plus to do that. So, I mean, of course, he got it, he immediately implemented everything, but yet it took him 33 years to become karmatit with all the practice he did. So what more us? So it's a lot of patience. Yes, the frustrations will come up, the disheartenments will come up, but it's just a question of watching it each time it comes up. And of course, with Baba, not just doing it by ourselves, and we'll get even more disheartened watching it. Satna, anything to add before anything from the Murli today?
Yeah, Om Shanti. I was
Shanti.
just picturing the tree. Baba said human world tree, and say variety tree of religion. And I was picturing the tree, like seeing it at the, like one seed, of course, and then the tree at the beginning, like the first crop were like high quality fruit, perfect fruit. And then the second crop as well is still good fruit. And then it's coming down like to copper age. So the fruits start to get bitter fruit and rotten fruit, especially at iron age. It's just all more or less rotten fruit. And then Baba comes at the confluence age with his pitchkari, bring his fertilizer. And where does he start? At the root. So start with the Brahmins, then all the beautiful fruits going to you know, we're going to have a good harvest eventually.
Very good. The Pichkari is applied to the intellect, the Brahmin intellect.
Yes.
That's what it's applied to. Very good.
Yeah, I was picturing, I said, oh, lovely, Baba.
Very nice. So today Baba is talking about, you know, being the master of the garden, boatman, purifier, innocent Lord. So that gives us the flavor of the Murli today. And the Murli starts off with, what is he seeing? You know, he's seeing flowers. So it starts off with already, you know, a conundrum in the Murli. He says, you know, Father is pleased to see you flowers. But then on the other hand, opposite to what he's seeing, he's also saying, but each one of you understands, he's telling us, you understand that there is a process. You are changing from thorns into flowers. Whilst I am seeing you as only flowers, I'm not seeing your thorn, but you understand that you are going through that process of transformation. And that's what takes time. So this is what he's saying. So what is his yogdan or service to us? Just to see us as flowers. That's it. So he gives us the medicine straight away by just seeing us as flowers. So he understands as well that we are going through the process, but he says, you have to understand that as well. So which means you shouldn't be hard on yourself, right? He says, you know, look at this, look at how elevated this knowledge is, because it fosters this understanding. And it gives you that patience, that power, and that serenity and peace to accept this process of changing from thorns into flowers. Yeah. But his sight will always be seeing us as flowers. So what does he want to do? He wants us to also see ourselves as flowers. So invoke our perfect stage, our divine stage, our deity stage with the deity qualities. You know, yesterday we did this, what is the inheritance? You know, from Paramdam, from Shiv Baba, the inheritance is heaven, right? The totality of the package is what he's giving us, right? So what is that? It is nirakari, the bodiless stage is what we have to practice to experience that. And then the second inheritance, which we get from the angelic Baba, is, any guesses again? Yesterday we slightly touched on this. Anyone? So the angelic stage, the inheritance we get is the divine qualities, the virtues, the deity virtues, perfection, Vishnu. But it is a land of no flesh and bone, right? It's a land of images. So we invoke our perfect stage in that subtle region. And this is what Baba kept doing. He kept working towards that perfection. Yeah. So that would be nirvikari stage. The Baba's last three words, this one, nirvikari. So verse was nirakari, nirvikari, viceless. And then the last one, the inheritance of the physical, which we get from both the fathers, is egoless, nirahankari in our actions. So if you remember these three, we can remember the whole of the Gyan. Because these were Baba's three words as well, and what we get. Sorry, Satna, you wanted to say something?
No, that's fine. I was going to say egoless, but you said it.
Yes, yes, egoless in our actions. Yeah? So three things yesterday. So Baba is saying, you know, to really grasp this, we need a broad intellect, because the intellect is always, you know, going back to its tainted position of limitations. Limitations of our sanskaras, limitations of our habits, limitations of others, relationships, labeling, everything, limitedness. So Baba says you need to stretch that intellect, use that broad intellect to really grasp this, because this transcends time. We are going beyond time. So the Baba is saying why you have to have a broad intellect, because your current experience is that of the iron-aged world, and a world where the residents are residents of hell, and we are part of that. So currently we are, in the stage of, duality, and it's stark duality. We see the great contrast, and Mama calls it the Maha Antar, the great divide between heaven and hell. And what we are doing, we are transitioning, we are becoming the residents of heaven from the residents of hell. So Baba is saying, this is your experience now, currently. So Baba is saying to help you.
Would you say this is also a mutation?
It's not a mutation as much as a complete transformation, whereas a mutation takes time, in biology or whatever science. Baba calls this a magical transformation. And what he says, it takes 1 second. And he said it in today's Murli. Right? And how he works this is that 1 second experience accumulates in itself to become a sanskar which is so deep, it lasts for 2,500 years. That's why it's magical. So we are experiencing something for literally half seconds, 30 seconds, half seconds, 30 seconds, on and on and on and on until it becomes a continuous sanskar, despite the fact that we're living in hell. And this is why Baba says that detached observer practice is key, because it allows us to stay in that vibration of the practice. Because when we are observing, we are not actually being, seed stage or whatever. We are completely aware of both sides. We're completely aware of heaven and hell, of the self and hell, right? Of the fact that we are living in hell. That's the experience we are experiencing, but we choose through the power of yoga and the power of Gyan to step back, completely using Gyan and yoga to observe the hellish sanskaras or feelings or emotions which we are experiencing. Baba said that you will experience, that's what you're experiencing now, the world of hell. It's the battle. That's what you're experiencing. So Baba says, what is lacking in us doing this? Sorry, Sheila, carry on.
No. Then I heard from a sister saying, be an observer, not an absorber. I thought that was brilliant, because it's easy to remember, don't absorb and have a feeling and suffer, but just observe.
Correct. Yeah, because when we absorb, we become the sufferer. And Baba says, don't take sorrow. Because if we take, we are going to give it. So if we observe, we are not taking it. And Dadi Gulzar beautifully, she said, would you take in rubbish? Right? The sanskaras which you are observing currently, sanskaras which you are experiencing currently, yours and others, are acquired sanskars. They're actually not yours. So why would you want to take something which is not yours? Particularly, the quality of it is absolute rubbish. So Dadi Gulzar gave a lovely example. She says, would you open your door and allow other people's rubbish, or even your own rubbish in your house? Even your rubbish, you leave it outside the house. Yes, Christine.
Yeah, I was in a conversation with Logics, and they, not all, but some are really using a very aggressive and this fecal language, and also this is special expressions we are not using anymore. And so I just said to them that I'm what did I say? I said it in German, but that it's for this for this meeting I was in, it's not right to speak in such a way. And for me, it's not right to speak in such a way because we are, also that's what I didn't tell them, but I guess we are all out of the kindergarten stage. And is that right to do this?
It depends on the context. Baba says we can give what do you call it? Lessons or no, what did he say? We can give the word he mentioned is corrections, right? We can give corrections.
Okay.
Before we do so, I think there's a methodology to it. He says you need to check your stage to see, are you giving the corrections from a stage of disturbance? Are you disturbed inside? And as a result, then automatically that correction is just literally jumping out. Or have you stepped inside 1 second, invoking Baba, literally, just silence inside, even for a few seconds, and then coming up with the correction. And even if you do come up with the correction, the methodology with Baba always tells us, and Mama always uses, is to actually say something positive first and then give the correction in.
Yeah, okay.
Remember
Okay.
that methodology Baba
Yeah.
always gives. Yeah.
And okay, I said this and then I just left it. Yeah, and I left to everyone else how they decide to speak from now on. And I'm not giving this correction again because it's not my task to criticize or to control others, which I can never do. And I just made this statement, and I just feel this mercy for others, or maybe we Baba and me, we brought them to think about, oh, how am I speaking? What do I take into my mouth?
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, and for just for this, and now it's full stop, and it's okay however they behave, and it doesn't affect me because it's also a good lesson to practice, being the Sakshi in such moments, when someone is really loudly speaking and aggressively and all this stuff speaking, then because in this society, it's quite normal, to speak in kindergarten language sometimes. Thank you.
I know that's very good checking point. Am I getting disturbed? But yet, not taking it lying down. You should be able to speak, but as you say, remain detached from the outcome of your advice and how you given the advice. So all these checking points Baba has given to us. So it's a really, really good scenario for us to practice all our Gyan and yoga as well. So Baba is saying for this transition from being residents of hell to residents of heaven, which he understands is going to take time, he's saying, what are the things you need to do? And that's when he says, Shrimat. Why? Because he says, although you have Gyan and yoga, you don't have the courage to implement Shrimat. So Baba says, he is very careful. It's beautiful, today's Murli, certain points he's given. He says, fine, you know what Shrimat is. So first one, he's talking about the context of marriage. Somebody obviously, I think, during that Murli when it was spoken, someone actually came and asked Baba about getting their son married. And I said in the weekend I was spending in a retreat, and Miraban was mentioning apparently the rule which Baba used to implement when people used to ask this question. Let me see if I remember what she said. She said, for boys, the answer, I mean, the guidance rather, it's not the answer, the guidance, it's normally no. But after you say no to your child, and the child still wants to go again, the son still wants to go ahead and get married, similar to what happened to Brahma Baba himself. His son Narayan wanted to get married, and remember he asked Baba, I want to get married to this girl, give me my property. Baba said, I don't have any property to give you. That's it. So he didn't endorse the marriage, he didn't come for the marriage, etc. But Jashoda, the mother, she went for the wedding in Mumbai. So the guidance is for boys you don't support marriage, but for girls, it's a different thing. So there is a different yardstick, because I guess that during that time, girls were more vulnerable, to I don't know, all kinds of things, I suppose. So with girls, Baba used to say, as long as the marriage is a pure marriage, yes. So there are examples of many pure marriages within the yagya. Of course, the famous one we know is Rameshba and Usha Ben. So there was a lot of sharing on Rameshba and Usha Ben, because there were quite a few who came from Madhuban during this retreat who actually knew Rameshba and Usha Ben. So it was quite a lot of sharing on this particular aspect. So Baba is saying today, if somebody comes and asks him, can I get my son married? Baba says, his reply, beautiful, but it's so deep. He says, you may do so. But he tells us what the consequences are. That same thing with food. He says, fine, you may eat it. You're the daughter-in-law, what coming to cook? That's the scenario given. Now, why is Baba saying, you may do that, you may do this, you may do that? Any ideas? When somebody asks, Baba says, go ahead. It's actually a karmic philosophy. Baba is addressing that actually, right? Now, if Baba says, if somebody asks Baba, can I get my son married, despite knowing what the position is on marriages, if Baba reinforces and says no, Baba knows that that person is going to go ahead anyway. Which means if that person goes ahead anyway because that person lacks courage to stand by Shrimat, that person is going to incur even more multi-million-fold, not multi-million, but few hundred-fold of negative karma for going against Baba's word. Can you see that? And this is why Baba mercifully says, yes, go ahead. Because at least there'll only be one set of negative karmas for that person for not following Shrimat. But on top of it, if they don't follow what Baba also tells them, which is also Shrimat, but it's come directly now to them, one-on-one, if they don't follow that as well, the burden of sin which they're going to incur will be multiplied. So Baba is telling us it is a sin. It is going to impact for the food, for the marriage, etc. Right? But if you come and ask me, I know you don't have the courage and I don't want you to be further burdened. So I'm going to say, you may do so. So this is actually Baba's mercy. Yeah. And then with the daughter-in-law thing, the food, what did he say? Think about it. Yeah, okay, fine, go ahead. You didn't have a choice. You were ill, your daughter-in-law cooked and you ate it. But he's telling us, think, is it actually attachment behind your decision to go ahead with that? Yeah. So Baba is actually telling us, stop asking about all these trivial matters of Baba, because you know what the guidance is. And in the 70s, Murli's Baba has given us, he says, right, if you are put in a position where you really don't have a choice, then ask Baba at that time. Right, really, like, I think he was talking in the context of military. I don't know whether you'll recall, that was on Murli we read. There was this Brahma Kumar who had joined the military. And in the military, they don't allow you to cook. There is an army cook and you eat whatever they do, right? And Baba says in those circumstances, he said, give drishti to the food and eat. So for each of them, despite all the Murlis we've had on food, etc., they are circumstances where Baba says, if it's out of the ordinary, where you really don't have a choice, traveling, etc., 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 come and ask me, right? Then I'll tell you. But, simply coming to ask, oh, can I get my son married? That you're not forced, right? It's an attachment. Baba is saying it's attachment. So you want Baba to endorse it. Sheila.
Yeah, and so this is also regarding food, like when we eat outside, food that is not cooked by us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it's not for us to go to a restaurant then, right?
Well, a lot of BKs, including Margaret, I mean, we all have gone to restaurants, but it's just a question of what you order, right? I mean, I think one of the senior sisters in GCH has told me, I mean, she orders chips. And why? Because machine made. So there are exceptions. And actually now more and more things are machine made. So there is no sort of, apart from the ingredients going into the machine, which are the raw ingredients, there is no other human intervention except the packaging of it. And this includes, by the way, airline food, because everything is machine. Like when you go to Shantivan, have you been to the kitchens in Shantivan?
Yeah.
Completely automated, right? Because why was it automated? Dadi said, as Brahmins, the population of Brahmins grow, and when you go into the kitchen, there are, people all over the place, all Brahmins cooking. And but you never know, are they soul conscious when they're cooking? Are they gossiping? Are they talking? You don't know. So Dadi Prakashwini, very far-sighted, she said, automate it. So everything we get in Madhuban is also automated, and currently they're doing the same with Pandav Bhavan kitchens, as Gopi Ben was sharing. They're going to automate that as well. Yeah. Just to keep it safe. So actually, Brahmins have more options now with more automation in terms of the preparation of food. And when you really don't have a choice, ask Baba, as Baba says. But of course, when you do have a choice, Baba is saying, don't come and ask me. Like the marriage thing or the daughter-in-law thing. Yeah. Or if you're like, dying and so ill and flu and bed and whatever, you can't even get out of bed, you don't have a choice, right? Then, so Baba is saying, just be sensible about it. I was just saying, Baba says, no choice, go to a station and go to the bread seller and buy. Those who are reading the Murli so literally will just do that. Literally go and find a station and a bread vendor in a station and do that. But what he's saying is, why bread? Automated. It's mass made, it's commercial, right? He didn't say, I don't know, fried rice or noodles or what have you, where we have somebody sitting and cooking it.
In Madhuban, when it's automatic made, is it still offered then afterwards?
It's offered. Yeah. Of course, you give your drishti, you offer it, etc.
I mean this regular on the spoke tablet and water and all the stuff.
It's offered. It's offered.
Like in a center.
Like in a center, they do offer bhog, every Thursday and Sunday.
In regular also, not I mean especially also for this automatic food.
Yeah, they do offer. They do offer. Yes, they do offer it. Yes. Yeah. Because we have to eat what shall I say, vibrationally high food. So whatever the food is, even if I'm sitting in a breakfast table in a Holiday Inn and I've got a bowl of cereal in front of me and fruit and milk and coffee and what have you, I still have to give it drishti, right? Although it's so-called outside food, right? So like a sister contacted me, she's coming to Singapore, and unfortunately, here they have some quirky laws about you can't book a service apartment or somewhere where you can cook if you're going to stay, if you're here for less than 7 days. There's some strange laws here. So she's forced to stay in a hotel. And I said, well, there's so much option. There's so much fruit, there's crackers, there's this, there's that, there's steamed stuff, there's machine-made stuff, there is bread, there is butter, there is milk, anything, if you don't drink milk, you're vegan, there are vegan options. There's so much out there that, I mean, of course, cooking is ideal if you can do it yourself. But if you can't, then there are options. Baba's not saying don't.
Yeah. But this is wonderful that we speak about this now. This is so practical. And in August, this one is invited for 1 week on an island here in the North Sea by the stepfather. And I choose to stay in a hotel for this week. And I just left it into the hands of Baba. I don't know if this is careless, but I just really that was a wish for so long, just to be in a hotel room and see the coast, see the ocean, and be on vacation for 1 week. Yeah.
Yes.
And so and he offered that hey, so come on, you are invited for 1 week, let's go there.
Yeah.
And so we will see. And I asked already this hotel, what about vegan food? And they didn't know what vegan was. So I was surprised on this whole island, and nobody knows really, when I speak about vegan, they are all this, then they tell me about all their vegetarian stuff they have.
But even vegan, what I find is, because I've been traveling so much since March, I need to tell them vegan, no onion, no garlic as well,
Yes,
because vegan
yes.
does contain onion and garlic. Huh?
Because this hotel is only with breakfast, and I asked for the breakfast, and then they spoke about this yogurt and milk and
there's a lot nuts, and breads, and so you can't survive because it's not
yes,
digestive.
I think so. Hey, come on, for 7 days we will survive. Definitely,
Right.
somehow. And this is not, I'm not traveling there for eating. Yeah.
Steamed things. And then as I said, one of the sisters in GCH, for her chips is fine because chips is machine made. I mean, this is what she told me. I mean, I don't take chips, but
but you made this chips in a plastic bag. This
No, the one
salty
like they
chips?
make in McDonald's, that kind of chips, where they put in a basket and put into that
deep
machine
fried.
air fryer, that fryer thing.
Yes. Now I understand. And this is but you have to maybe, if you have the courage, then to ask in which oil is this fried. Are there also chicken wings also boiled in this?
So like in McDonald's, because as a student I used to work in McDonald's, just handling the chip fryer, that's it. I wasn't handling the meat part of it, just to earn extra money to support my student life at that time. They were very, very strict about the chip fryer. It was exclusive, no mixing, no nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, at least McDonald's. I don't know other places. I have no clue.
And is it still like this?
Don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
It's still like I used to work as a student in McDonald's as well, but they were very particular about cleaning, and also chips would be fried in just on its own, not mixed. But I did ask recently. I was with my family, and then they wanted to eat. And then my sister was having a go at me, and I said, no, I don't want to eat anything. But then I went to McDonald's and I did ask. They said, yes, the chips is still fried separately. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So yeah. Anyway, so Baba says, just have to take care of the body, right? The body is so important, not allowing it to become weak. Why? Because this is the body which does the maximum service throughout the whole kalpa. So, of course, the analogy he gave is the Dichi Rishi, which in the scriptural stories, he gave his bones to make that, yeah, it's a very funny story anyway. But he had to die, right? Because literally his bones were used to make a weapon, which currently, if you look at the picture of Indra, they call him the deity Indra, he holds that weapon in his hand. And it's called, translated to the weapon of lightning. It's like a white color weapon. It's made from these Dadichi Rishi's bones. And this weapon, it's like, like the Divya Buddhi, whatever it strikes, it transforms. It's always successful. Whoever uses this weapon, especially Indra, he cannot fail in that mission. So that's the thinking. So Baba is in the context using that scriptural story, where he's saying that we need to be so healthy or keep the body healthy so that we are able to do service. So even if the body gets old and weak and etc., we have done so much service that we are still able to do mansa seva. Yeah. So you're dying doing service. If you're currently, when the body is healthy, you keep doing service, all karmana seva, mansa seva, vacha seva, all kinds of service you do, being an all-rounder, automatically, at the end, you will continue doing that service.
Yeah. And I spoke to a sister, and I'm personally taking this nutrition supplements. Yeah, because as a vegan, if you are not on this dairy products, you need special things. And so and she saw it when she was here, and she said, oh no, and you don't need this, and in the future you will only be nourished by Baba's light. Yeah. And please sit for the next 3 months for 6 hours every day in silence in your corner. And then you don't need that anymore, because only Baba nourishes you with everything. Yeah.
Right.
But
that's not Baba.
Any comments on that, please?
Well, to each their own practices. But Baba has always said in the Murlis, you are not to do any of that, because that is a sannyas practice. And we are not sannyasis. We are living in this world. Baba always even encourages, if you're sick, just take medicine, normal doctor medicine. I know during COVID, this was a big debate. Should we take the jab? Shouldn't we take the jab? And it was really, as Sister Jayanti was saying, a real waste of time. In the sense that if you need to take it, take it. If you really don't want to take it, don't take it. But, it depends. It's choice-based. And number 2, sitting 6 hours a day, fine. Whilst if anyone has time, they can do it. But Baba doesn't say that. It's all-round service, right? Whilst walking, talking, moving around. That's what Baba says in the Murli. And he says the 8 hours remembrance doesn't mean sitting down remembrance. He says you only sit down to guide the mind. But after that, you get up, you do your stuff, but in remembrance. That is the best practice. And number 3, you're not doing yoga for a material benefit of improving the health of the body. Because if that's the purpose, then we are not in true yoga. You see what I mean? Our purpose of doing yoga is for the future, not for now. Baba says the fruit is not now. The fruit is in the future. But you experience the future fruit now. Experience it in your mind. you don't experience it. The body will still
Okay.
go. He says, you know, the body will have to suffer. It's the dadi suffered their consequences, you know, everything. And for us, it's worse. It's both body, mind, health, wealth, everything. We will face all that. And a beautiful there was one of these Spark doctors. He's a scientist from Madhuban who came for this retreat. You know what? He's beautiful. His name is Dr. Ramanujam. So beautiful the way he has analyzed all the Murlis. Now, what he said for a Brahmin, so beautiful that it's just stuck to my mind, this one. He says, every single person, not only Brahmins, has to face pain, death, and health breaking down. Definitely. No choice. And what Baba says is, practice of being the detached observer allows you to face this with wisdom, not with, oh, please go away. I don't like this. I want to change this. I want to get a better body. I want to get healthy. I don't want this pain. No, that's not the intention. He says that the practice of yoga is acceptance of whatever it is in the drama. But you have to maintain your health, wealth, job, whatever, as per the drama, to keep yourself in a reasonably good shape. But why? Only for you to do service. And service is for what? Not for anybody else. It's for you. So that you are in a shape to face your own accounts, karmic accounts and sanskara transformation. That requires a lot of power.
Yeah. And what about these? Someone told me that about this obesity conquest. What is it in Madhuban?
Are they doing something about obesity then? Too much?
No. They who is the one with the most weight? Yeah, and they all want to be the biggest of all, and that's a sister told me who is regularly there in Madhuban, and she said this, and I just thought, oh wow, and this is you are speaking about a good shape, and this overweight is not really a good shape.
No.
And it's more a damage to the body.
Correct.
And for the joints and all this stuff. Yeah,
Absolutely. And this is why Dr. what's his name, Sachin, also says the same thing. You know, he's so yoga and everything, but he says the exercise and taking care of the body is key, because if you notice, when we are ill, you know, headache or whatever, we actually cannot do meditation. The body pulls.
yeah.
So this is what Baba says here today. So looking after
Yeah,
the body.
this is really wonderful. Thank you for your comments to this conversation with that sister, and 2.1 with this nutrition supplements. I just remembered Surya by saying that he also takes these capsules, and he really entitled them as God's blessing.
God's
Blessing.
blessings, exactly.
God's
Yes.
blessings. And so and also here for there's also a post-it on them, God's blessing.
Correct. Because, you know, drama is bringing us the opportunity to improve our health. It's giving us a sign, and if we ignore that sign under the name of Gyan, then it's possibly, you know, a possible misinterpretation of Gyan, possible.
Yeah, but it's also, you know, this this behavior of not only that, sister, you know, when someone comes into your private space, and you don't even ask that person, but this person comes immediately with their opinion, and you know what they think about this and that, and what you should do, and all this yeah. And
But that's our sanskar as well, right? We always like to advise people. Yes. Yes.
I'm very careful with this.
Yeah,
Very,
same
very
here. Very
careful.
careful. Yes.
Yeah,
Same here.
because
Same here.
nobody, especially here, I don't want to be taught anymore, and
Right.
it's really tapping, tapping over you, yes, it's
Right.
yeah, it's
Right.
not really respectful.
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
So, and any other thing, any other points? And so Baba saying, remember alpha, remember beta, and automatically you'll receive your inheritance. Inheritance of heaven, inheritance of divine virtues, and inheritance of being egoless, because this is what the deities were, all three. Nirakari, Nirvikari, Nirahankari. This is how they lived. So it's the perfect life. And if we live like that, Baba, what is he saying here? And of course, with the external purity and the internal purity, which is addressing in today's Murli, he's saying we will stop the accumulation of negative karma into our account. Although we are living in hell, we are living in a world of karma. Anything we do, Baba says, you attract karma. So the name of the game for Brahmins is, rather than attracting and filling up further the already overflowing urn of sin which we have in us, is to now start putting in elevated karma. So this is the only way to do it. It's as constantly as you're doing, walking, talking, moving around, doing everything. Think of alpha and beta, and then you will experience, Baba says, liberation in life in a second. Yeah. And he calls this today the Indraprasth, the gathering of Indra. Sorry, not Indraprasth, Indra Sabha. It's the gathering of Indra, right? Why Indra? He's the Lord of rain. So we rain service, we rain knowledge, we rain the power of yoga on ourselves and for the whole world to bring about this transformation. So that's why he brought in this reference to Indra Sabha today. This is also the gathering of Indra, which means cleansing. Rain cleanses, water cleanses. So it's a cleansing process, Baba is saying. And so the external cleansing is the easiest, food, etc. That's actually the easiest. It's more the internal that's more difficult. So for that, Baba is saying, watch your thoughts, detached observer, write it down, charting, so many things he's given us in previous release, remembrance. Yeah, so the internal cleansing is more difficult. External, yeah.
And as the experience here was on Saturday, we had a schools meeting, after 30 years we met again, and after that I came here, and at first I took a shower, also externally cleansing, and then I sat down here with Baba, even if it was Amrit Vela time, no? From 2 to 3, and it was really like this internal cleansing of this event. Yeah.
Because
Really,
the event will stick to your mind. Oh, what they said, what this is. It's
Yeah,
very,
yeah,
very,
yeah.
very, it happens a lot.
Not exactly. Not even this. Even if you are just shortly somewhere outside and then come back, and yeah. And as we said, when was it? Some time ago. This you can in the external, you can take all these precautions to not be influenced or to but when it comes from the inside, what are you doing then? And it's only Baba can help.
Right. Yeah. I mean, some of the external, some Brahmins go to extremes. So when you hear some of the
what?
sharings, you're like, huh? Okay.
Like what? Give an example, please.
Example which I picked up from the retreat this weekend. I'm not going to mention names. These are fairly senior people. One of them said animals, dogs. When you go, like when this person goes for service or goes to serve VIPs, etc., the first thing the person asks is, do you have a dog? So we were talking about addictions. Some people have fears. If you have fears and addictions, that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
So some
Okay.
people fear dogs, fear whatever, So we're talking about staring into the eye of a dog. If you fear a dog, stare into the eyes, and your fear will go away. So for me, it's cockroaches, right? It's like, how do you stare into an eye of a cockroach? I'm not there yet, so forget it. I'm still afraid of cockroaches. So you're talking, and this person went on to say, when they go to service, for VIPs and what have you, they have these guard dogs, and this person will insist that those dogs are tied up or locked up or whatever. So the question was, is it because of the fear? So partly, but actually, more than that, don't want the animal to touch me.
Okay.
Because of purity, cleanliness, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But nowhere did Baba say about this. There's not in the Murlis, and in fact, Brahma Baba used to touch the cows and the cat, the whatever used to come, birds, and feed them, and they used to sit on him and what have you. So I said some of it is taken a little bit,
But I really can understand these sister, because I have an allergy
Yes.
against and hair and sorry. Okay. Give me.
But this one wasn't an allergy case, huh? Because somebody asked the question, is it allergy? Is it fear? Is it no, it's just cleanliness. We've grown up in a society where we don't allow, and the person is right. Even in the golden age, when we read some of the Murlis, we pick up that there is discipline between the inner space of the palaces and the external. Animals remain outside. Do you remember there's some Murlis on this, especially that 1980 Murli on the golden age? So there is, they're careful not to allow animals into the house in the golden age. So maybe this is what I'm thinking. This is what that person is practicing. But it's not in the house. I mean, it's just, what if a dog comes lovingly to you and you give it a pat? You know what I mean?
No, but I really understand. I was growing up with a hunting dog in my childhood days, but nowadays it's another case, and I really okay, I'm putting my allergy in the front, and I say to them, no, I can't touch this cat or this dog because of that. But also internally, I don't want to anymore. I'm really out of this petting and hugging and kissing and all this. And because they are not showering. And they are eating special stuff I'm not eating anymore. So I don't like the smell and this,
Not in the house. I'm sensitive to dog houses, like I mean, as in people having dogs in their house. I mean, I can determine there is an animal in the house, but I don't have an issue with animals per se, except cockroaches.
Okay, good. It depends. It depends which animal it is, and if these are vegetarian or vegan eating animals, I have no problem with them. I love to pet them and hug them, and no problem with that. If the allergy wouldn't be there, but but it's interesting.
Yes, quite a quite a area. Yes.
And but I thought I expected you to say other extremes, like bhakti rituals, or like
that as well.
Esoteric, esoteric rituals, stuff like that.
Esoteric rituals, and also strange rules, which we don't get maybe in London. Maybe I'm used to London and I'm not used to it here. Like one of the rules, only a Brahmin who has been to Madhuban can go into the kitchen.
Oh.
I was like, okay. I mean,
Okay.
you respect it, but you're wondering, what is the basis of that rule? Did Baba say it? No.
Nee.
Baba simply says, you're a Brahmin, you have accepted God, you cook your food, done, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. So I was really careful not to enter any of the kitchens in any
Yeah.
of the centers because I
Okay.
have no clue what quirky
Yeah.
rules they have. And
Okay.
also, if you're doing seva,
Yeah.
I was just wearing like a normal thing, not
Mm.
the Punjabi, because you're going to do a lot of work, with your
Mm.
hands and dirty washing, cutting, and what have you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't provide aprons, so I wore really like a simple.
Oh.
And they said, oh, you can't go into the kitchen if you're wearing that. You're wearing white. You're still in white. You're
Yeah.
still in a long stuff. It's just not a proper sari or a Punjabi, whatever we wear normally. And I said, no, I didn't
Okay.
intend to go to the kitchen. I'm just doing, the work here. So
Okay.
yeah, so a lot of this, it's very devotionally driven rules, which in some of the centers you
Yeah.
find here. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm to be honest, I really must say that some things out of the esoteric area is still quite helpful for
Yes.
to against some against entities you don't want to have in your in
True.
your
True.
yeah. And so like for here it's like putting a cup of salt water on the balcony like this, yeah. And the bell or yeah, into your washings, just put a handful of salt into your washing. This also cleanses the old energies out of it.
Yeah, I mean, those are fine. I mean,
Yeah,
we do a lot
I'm
of
sorry,
things like
the
that.
door rang. Just have a look,
Yeah.
and I'm coming back. Just a second.
Yeah. Any other points? Anyone? A blessing?
I'm Shanti here. Sheila.
Shanti.
I'm a fan of animals. And I remember last time I was in Madhuban, there was a brother with his dog in Gyan Sarovar. I was really surprised. But yeah, how did this happen?
It's all different, I don't know, ideas, etc. But again, Murli is sort of the source, and nowhere does it mention anything. And of course, if you're going to have a dog, I suppose, you don't handle the meat part of it. So the only rule I know in
Yeah.
Madhuban is if, for instance, you're living with your family, forget about dogs for the moment, right? If you're living with your family and the rest, the Lokiks are not Brahmins and they eat meat, and you have to handle it for whatever reason. Like, we had this live example when all of us 2 years ago in Madhuban, one older person was asking the ring ceremony, can I wear the ring? I'm Pakka Brahmin, but I feed my grandchild meat because my daughter and son-in-law, they all eat meat and they insist that their children eat meat. And they go off to work and I'm the one looking after the children and I have to feed them, no choice. And it was that context, right? But the long and short of it is the rules clarified is normally if that happens, they don't allow you to cook. You can cut the vegetables and all that, but you don't enter the kitchen or cook. You just don't cook. That's the only restriction if you are handling meat on a regular basis, or you're working in a I don't know, meat industry and you're handling meat. You can still be a Brahmin, but don't cook in Madhuban or the centers. That's the only restriction. But everything else is fine. As I think the example which was given is Shivani's mother cooked. In fact, and Shivani was sharing her story in one of these videos I was watching. She says, when her mother became a Brahmin, and initially she refused to cook meat for the family, which was cooking all along. Shivani, she's quite a strong character, right? You can see it coming out during her talks. She told the mother, I insist that you have to cook for us. So when the mother went and asked Baba says, no, do, it's your responsibility, looking after the family, etc. And the only thing is don't cook in the center. So that's she did. So she cooked for 10 years for her family, made meat. She handled it. And during that period, Shivani, with that love, with the drishti, so giving to the food, although it was meat, she, a person like Shivani blossomed out of that.
Yeah.
But very, very meat eating, very meat eating family. That one, that's what Shivani said. So, any other points? Interesting.
Yeah. What would you guess in the end if there is no, when there is nothing, could this be in the end, really at the real end, that there is nothing available but meat to eat?
It can't for Brahmins, according to Baba. He says, I will guarantee for Brahmins, I guarantee that you will at least have dal roti for Brahmins, right? For us.
Yeah.
So that's it. Complete faith that at the end you will definitely have something.
Okay. Okay. And last thing is in the end, some thoughts can come up which you have never ever dreamt of. It's so extreme. And if someone asks me and ask for, what could this be? Could this also be that you have really this, I want to eat meat thought?
Yes, it'll come up. If that's the sanskar in you, and
it's just an example, but sanskar. No. I grew up with a hunter. My dad was a hunter. We had always that animals hanging in the garage, and animals in the garden which were slaughtered, and we ate them, and this was normal. Yeah, but with 16, I was totally out of that. I didn't want that anymore. Progressively, yeah. And I don't know if you would call this a sanskar.
It would, and you've finished that sanskar. There are two ways of getting rid of a sanskar. One is Baba's method, right? Watch the sanskar, detach, slowly do. He's given us a methodology. Second way, which is what they call the satiation method. That means you just go for it. And that's in the Lokik world. You'll see that. If you want to get angry, go. Yeah, shout at the wall and do get it out of your system. If you want to eat meat, eat. Go ahead, eat whatever you want, or get it out of your system. And you finish that. And it works. I mean, for some people it works, right? That they get rid of even that urge to eat meat because they've eaten so much of it. And in my case, the big example is sandwiches. Because when I was studying in the UK, I came as a child, right? So when I studied in the UK, because I was vegetarian from start, it was sandwiches, and especially cheese sandwiches, to the point that once I finished my studies and I was going to work, I vowed never again. No more sandwiches in my life. And I've kept it up to now. The only exceptions I make is when I come from Madhuban, they give you the sandwich. Even that I'll normally try not to, but the sandwich is nice and, so, okay, fine. That's the only one I will take, but I won't, if given a choice, I wouldn't go for a sandwich. Because that thing is over. It was like so, you get so icky and fed up of it.
And is it also this what Baba mentioned today was, okay, go ahead, smoke as much as you want?
That's more for the karmic thing, because it's not a deity sanskar.
Yeah.
Alcohol is not a deity sanskar. And then you go and ask Baba that trivial question and say, oh, I can't give up this habit. What do you expect? What's the Baba saying? What do you expect me to say?
Yeah.
Give it up. I've already said it in the Murli. Murli is clear. So I'd rather not say anything to you because I know you don't have the courage to give it up. And therefore I said, all right, fine, do whatever, go ahead. Because if Baba says no, and you still go ahead with that habit, your karmic account sin is going to increase even more.
Okay.
Because you've gone against a direct Shrimat.
But it's so interesting, you know, with this, this is so clear for me. Never ever want to have anything to do with meat or dairy things anymore. But in other cases, I can't, you know, I can't. Why is it so is this, you know, in that case it's easy, and I wished it also for other things, for other sanskars to be so clear, you know. Yeah,
because there are two things that work there. So with these things like sandwiches and meat and dairy and etc., they are pure sanskaras. I mean, purely sanskaras only, habits. Right? And a habit is easy to get rid of. You just don't have it for 21 days and it's gone. Right? You take a determined thought, you want this habit to go away, it'll go away. Or if you're satiate, under the satiation method, you're just fed up of it. You just one day you get up, I know what, I'm fed up of this, don't want this. That's it, you can stop. Whereas everything else we are carrying, relationships, attachments, etc., there is an additional element of karmic accounts attached to it. So when a karmic account and a sanskara come together, that takes longer. So the karmic account is the most difficult.
Okay.
And karmic account can be with yourself, with your own body, etc., etc.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That's interesting. It's very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Baba.
Okay, yeah, but it will settle, definitely.
It will definitely settle. But whether it's through punishment or whether it's through yoga, that
I didn't want to hear that. Yeah, rather through yoga, yeah.
yes, exactly. And that's why Baba keeps saying, remember me, remember me, remember me. Constantly involving Baba. No matter what you're feeling inside, that feeling will be terrible, disheartenment, all will come in a storm. And all of us face that. None of us can escape it.
And it's also this, you know, I'm so active. I'm active or sleeping. And so and after this a sister suggested, so sit down for 6 hours in your corner, and I'm sitting in my corner, but and then I don't want to sit anymore, but I'm forcing myself to sit, to be seated, and I'm getting angry.
Yeah, Hatha yoga. That's what it's called, Hatha yoga. You know, Hatha means like
and then I'm
forcing.
yes, and then I'm standing up, and I said, no, that's not how Baba would like me to sit here.
Exactly. Yeah. So during this retreat, I just wanted to share the last point. Very nice, you know, going back to basics, really, you know, he was saying one of the inspirations you take from is the picture of Brahma Baba in Baba's room, and not Baba's room. Yeah, Baba's, not Kutia, the room, Baba's room in Madhuban. He says, look at the picture. How is Baba sitting? Relaxed, complete. You know, you look at his picture that, you know, with the blue background, complete relax. You know, the shoulders are down, the hands are just relaxed. The legs, you know, he's sitting in that, not even in a proper yogic position. It's like, you know, the leg one side and
half lotus or
half lotus.
semi-lotus.
But, you know, he says, you know, he shifts around, and the daddy was saying, sometimes he'll sit like that, sometimes he'll sit like this, he'll get up from his gaddi. And what he was saying is, when you practice the stillness, you know, stillness meditation, you're still just sitting there in quietness. You do it in pockets of short, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute.
Yes, exactly.
And then you move around, you can switch your position a little bit. You know, when people tell you, no, you have to be like absolutely still. Yes, you do, but not for long hours.
Nee, and this is more practical and more doable in this life, in this busy life, and also in this busy time. And so and it's more it's easier if you have a proper Amrit Vela in the morning. Then during that day, it's more easy also to sit down for 3 minutes every hour, or for sit down for meditation, and it really makes a difference. And if Amrit Vela is not possible, or not right, then it's more difficult also during the day to sit down.
And what you will find, what we found, because we had the power of the gathering in this retreat,
Mm.
we were doing like 2 hours straight through, just that silence. It was so powerful.
Wow.
Literally out of body, yeah. You don't even feel the body after a while.
Yeah.
But after, when you come back, it's, oh my God, my leg, my just like and I'm the most fidgety of people, you know, I can't sit still for too long. But I was really surprised. I said, this is power of gathering, definitely,
Wow.
because very powerful souls from Madhuban who came for this, plus, you know, Miraban, who is the head of the country, etc. She's extreme. Oh my God, her when you sit in front of her, that power which comes out of her. And you can see, you know, she actually, one of the days she was doing it, because I normally sit in front, so I'm right in front of her, very close.
Yes.
She has these tears rolling down. She's so connected to Baba. Tears were rolling down. I mean, a little bit. She was just very gently. She didn't want people to see, but because I was so close, I could see the, you know, the water glistening on her cheeks.
Yeah.
I mean, she's quite old now, and she's quite, I think she's having some problems walking and what have you, but very powerful soul. Even the way she was speaking, no, like with authority, no, not this gentle, soft voice. No, power. You have to do this. Your determination. I was like, wow.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
She's sharing about how she did this research, you know, on callousness. And she says, you know, there are 5 types of callousness. You know, so I said, can you share? She says, I can't remember, but I have done it. I found the paper because I know I was going to talk about it today, but you know, I encourage all of you to do. Will you do it? I said, okay. So she did it. It took her a year. She was just reading on what type of callousness. And she said Dadi Janki used to focus a lot on it. So she says, okay, I won't tell you all the answers. You all go and do it yourself. And then you can write to me. Anyway, all right. Any other final points, anyone? Eternal form, original form, deity form. Papa is telling us to remember this. So again, the same 3. The inheritance we are getting. Eternal form is Nirakari, right? The original sanskaras of the soul. Original form is the Nirvikari, completely viceless. The sanskaras and, the virtues of the deities. And then the pure deity form is Nirahankari, the physical form, the beauty. So Baba says, remember the 3 again. So Baba says, even now, so actually throughout the cycle, this purity remains with you. Although Baba says 21 births, he says this remains with you. Because even in the copper age, what are you looking for? Purity through devotion. That's why you're looking for God. You're looking for the purest soul. So Baba says, you are a pure yogi soul, even throughout the cycle. So even in the present time of, you know, so much of darkness and dirt in the world, who are you? Pure Brahman souls. So all Murli today is on purity. Om Shanti. Any final thoughts, anyone?
No, Om Shanti.
Om
Thank you
Shanti
very much.
all. Om Shanti.